Special thank you to Seed and Stone Cidery and Lucky Buzz Meadery for sponsoring the show today. They help to make this show possible and supply us with the occasional beverage when we're out there. They've got 10 taps full of meads and ciders made right there in-house. They've also got all sorts of awesome events going on, including an open mic almost every single Thursday where you can come out and show your musical talent. So all you songwriters out there, stop out and grab a cider or a mead and tell them that the Songwriters Couch and the Patrick Joanne Band sent you. Again, Seed and Stone Cidery right here in Rochester, New York. Go out and visit them and let them know we sent you. Thanks, guys.
All right, welcome to episode number 24 of the Songwriters Couch. And on today's show, we got a special little someone.
Not so little anymore.
Yeah, he's all grown up nowadays. But Mr. Brett Lionheart here on the show today. And before I introduce you fully, Brett, I do want to thank our sponsors, Seed and Stone, for sponsoring the show, making this all possible. Thank you, everyone who watches, who listens, who shares our wonderful podcast and the stories of these songwriters with everyone. If you know of any songwriters, you know of anyone you want to be on that wants to be on the show, or you yourself are a songwriter and you feel that you are worthy of being on the show, or that you want to show off your talents or what have you, reach out to us and we'll see if we can get you a spot on the show. And what else do I got to say? Oh, like, subscribe, all that kind of thing, right? The YouTubes, do what you got to do. Help spread the word. We do have merch, so go buy one of those. And we do have a Patreon. It's Patron. It's like the bootleg Patreon, just called Patron. So you can become a patron for as little as $1 a month and help support the show and help keep this going. So thank you to everyone who does watch it already. Thank you to all the guests previously who have been on. And thank you, Brett, for being on the show. So why don't you take a moment here, introduce yourself to our lovely audience and tell them what you do and kind of where they can find your stuff.
Well, thanks for having me.
Yeah, man.
This is a cool space. Patrick's doing a lot of cool stuff. I'm Brett. I just got done filming and releasing its incredible music video. We filmed it in Ithaca. We had some of my friends do glow-in-the-dark body paint all over our bodies. So I had no shirt on. I'm painted all over my arms, my face, and my chest. We had several other people who were painted in the same way. We had one day to film it, and we went into the gorges while some people were being painted and filmed this adventure story of someone being transformed and following their shadow into an adventure of musical proportions.
So where, if they were going to look for your videos on YouTube, do you have like an actual website that they can visit for kind of all your stuff?
Yeah, it's on YouTube now. We released it last week. The song is called Sun and Shadow, and I'm Brett Lionheart. You could search for that. You'll see a big
should probably spell it too,
thumbnail
so
of me going like with paint all over me.
Yeah, and we'll post all the links too to your stuff. So just shoot me over whatever you want me to put in there. But we've been friends kind of for a while now. What seems like 10 minutes, Brett, has been a lifetime in and of itself.
It grows, doesn't it?
It does, right?
So especially, I found that making friends with musicians is so easy.
It really does seem to be very easy.
You've been to Nashville. I lived in Nashville, and
yes.
I found that I just immediately became friends with everybody who was there. We had the same story. We're all creative, so we're kind of silly and random, but also really depressive sometimes. Right. And we've all taken a chance on ourselves to come here. I was amazed.
Yeah, and expose your vulnerabilities in front of strangers for pennies.
Yeah.
Sometimes for nothing.
Does it feel vulnerable to you?
I don't know if it feels... Yeah, I guess so. Sometimes it does. Depends on the song, though, because I write songs sometimes or that are about not giving a fuck to some extent, and then I have more vulnerable songs. But why do you feel that way?
Well,
typically when
people say that, and maybe I just have a strange mind. I don't feel as vulnerable. I have the most fun I ever have when I'm rocking on stage and getting to express myself creatively.
Yeah.
But I don't feel too much fear about it. No.
All right. Well, before we get into the depths of Brett's mind.
I go right to the depths.
Yeah. I'm gonna try and figure out, because we've known each other, like I said, for a little while now. 2 truths and a lie, and then maybe you want to whistle something that's like maybe come up with a little jingle there for what should we do? Let's do a little. I'll let you come up with it, Brett. What do you got?
Da 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 dum, da 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 dum, da 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 da.
2 truths and a lie.
We'll workshop it.
Yeah, we'll have to. That'll be workshopped. Absolutely.
We could just cut audio over of something.
Right.
We'll
put in like Beyonce or something.
Like, yeah.
So hit us with it, Brett. I'm going to try and figure out of 3 facts, and I'll have to do air quotes, that you tell me which one is a truth.
3 facts, one of which is not a fact.
Right.
Okay. Well, the most factual thing I could ever think of is that I grew up on a farm.
Okay.
The second most factual thing that's ever happened to me is that one time I woke up in the house of a very famous baseball player, and he didn't know I was there, and I heard him come in, and I quickly only had a chance to put on pants, and that's where he found me.
Oh, my.
And the third most accurate thing that's ever occurred in my medium-length life so far is that I have a degree in psychology.
All right, so first,
I'm going to guess
farm.
number 1. I'm guessing farm.
You're guessing that is a fact.
Is the lie.
I know.
All right, don't tell me yet, though, because I'm going to... Second one is the baseball player. No pants. That's very you. Did you have a belt?
Well, I had pants, not a shirt. I thought, a quick triage, maybe pants would be more of a priority than a shirt.
That would be a
That's all I
priority
had
in that
time
type of
for.
situation, yeah. And then third...
You got to think quick
Yeah, the third would
in
be
these factual
psychology.
scenarios that occur.
I'm going to go, and it's just because of your eyes when you were saying it, I'm going to go psychology as the lie.
I think our esteemed producer had it right. I did not grow up on a farm.
Oh!
Unusually.
I could have pegged you for a farm boy. at some
I've
point.
never tried pegging, but I'm open
It's
to anything.
It's the first time for everything, but
Yeah.
we like to try. Experimentation is not just for college anymore.
Is this what's the rating on this podcast?
Oh, it's R. It's definitely an R rated. Maybe also if you can get just a little closer up to the mic.
Anything for you,
I'll bring down your
babe.
Your volume there. So we were commenting too on your Taylor guitar, your beautiful Taylor guitar there.
Oh my gosh.
And speaking of, if Taylor Guitars wants to sponsor the show, we'd welcome it. I'd get away from this Martin guitar here, or if Martin wants to sponsor. Brett said he'd give up
Both
his Taylor
good brands, maybe the two best brands. I don't know, from what I've been told.
Martin is relatively close to you. I don't know where the Taylor factory is out of, though.
I think it's in San Diego because I just met a guy who works there.
I found Taylors are better going DI, like their DI sound is better. I prefer the tone of the acoustic, if you're just playing acoustically, of the Martin. I don't know if you feel the same way about that, but I've noticed that if I play this direct, like I plug it in, it sounds like shit. I don't like the way it sounds.
Hold on. Back up. You need to tell the story about the baseball player.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
That's right. I just kind of went over, I just kind of skipped
I
that.
had to just clear that.
Yeah.
Oh,
do you want to tell that's the details of that story?
Why not? It was this was in Nashville, and I was...
Yeah, so wait, because I don't know if they heard her comment there. So we started talking about guitars there for a second, but Allie was like, wait a second, you just kind of skipped over the
There
whole
was
baseball player,
sauce to
no
reveal.
pants. Yeah. All right, so this was in, I'm sorry, I cut you off there. It was in...
Right, yeah, I was in Nashville, and I didn't want to be in my apartment anymore because I didn't want to be in my job anymore, which was what pays for an apartment. So
Yeah.
I thought, okay, I might as well just let it go and leap and see what happens. And that doesn't always work.
Yeah.
Even if you have blind spiritual faith in something, just, maybe maybe a little bit less faith sometimes.
Yeah.
Could also be another fun, valid choice. But that's what I did. And so I was dating someone at the time, and I was relying on her a little bit too much to house me. She had a van, and I was, I could just stay in the van if I don't figure anything out. So we kind of were figuring out how to not be together anymore the day when my apartment expired. So I went to go stay with her uncle, who is... I had never heard of him because I don't follow sports, but apparently Barry Zito is a guy that people know.
Huh.
And
Is he like Major League Baseball?
yeah, he's like a big superstar, and she was telling me all these stories, and like, okay, yeah, we'll stay,
Sure.
stay in his spare room. So I wake up and I'm just chilling. She went to go to work, and he comes home and he goes, hello, and he calls her name, and I'm like, oh, okay, maybe I should get dressed. And I get dressed, and he didn't know I was there. And he says, she didn't tell me that we were having guests. And I'm just like, sorry.
Taken
hi,
aback.
nice to meet you. And but he was really cool, actually. I was a little nervous.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, you could get like shot or something, but
That's something I imagined when you told the story. Like, okay, you had an affair with some, the wife of some MLB
he was
player.
cool. He didn't even
and then
get angry. He was very measured. I figured he's seen a lot of shenanigans.
Yeah, he's good under pressure. I
in
think,
his day.
probably.
Yeah.
If he's
Shout out. Thanks, man. Thanks for
not killing you.
Thanks for being cool. No, he was just cool.
Did he offer you a shirt,
Good guy.
like a jersey to wear?
I had a shirt, but
Okay.
here, let me give you this signed jersey.
right.
Get the hell out of my house.
Number 69.
vagrant.
That's right. So that's an amazing story. Actually, that's pretty good. I'm glad we didn't fully skip over it.
I didn't realize it was a good story until I told someone, and everyone was like, "What? You did what?" I'm like, "Oh, I guess maybe I should remember that one."
Well, maybe some of the people watching and listening will know who that is, because I'm certainly not a baseball or sports person. I'm assuming that you're in the same boat as I am.
Somebody tell us in the comments.
Yeah, that's right. But so back to the guitar now, because that's also a good story that I kind of want to hear a little bit more about how that landed in your hands there. But I found, like I said, the Taylors tend to be like for DI. I mean, they sound great too acoustically. They definitely have a different tone. What made you go with that guitar in particular? Was it just you fell in love with the look of it and the?
Well, like, I think about like, what do I value in life, and there's only like a couple things that are really, really important. Music is one of them. So, with the money that I have, might as well get a really special, nice instrument. So that was why I wanted to do that. And
what were you playing before?
as I looked around, it was like a Yamaha with a laminate top, kind of nothing special. But as I looked around, this is what I found my way towards. And when you hold it, like the feel of it, it's made of wood, and it just feels so nice. And
it's what the inlays are there, right? Abalone.
It's some kind of wood, and they did tell me.
Well, the inlay, the shiny stuff, that's actually seashells. So all the fret dots, same thing with the Martin. Because I went to the Martin factory, and that's what got us talking before about it.
What are you, some kind of expert?
I am. Abalone. So it's actually a seashell. I think you could eat abalone, right? Don't they make sushi with abalone? but it's like got a shiny. Yeah, if you could look that up. But they do the inlays, and I watch them do that. Some of these like crazy inlays at the Martin factory, and putting it in. Literally, they're breaking up like seashells with a little hammer and like putting them in and like picking which color to be where.
Maybe we should
the whole thing.
Try it out. Do you think?
Yeah.
Just
try it.
about all of it is edible except the shell.
Yeah, but the shell at least they use for guitars.
Do you want to do some songs?
Some
Is that what we're doing today?
Dedicate it to the abalone.
Yeah, we can dedicate it to the all creatures of the sea.
That's right.
The end of the song.
Didn't
Continuity.
what's his name did right? Ringo Starr, didn't he do?
Who?
Not Under the
I'm
Sea.
just kidding.
Octopus, right? That in an octopus's garden. But
Greatest Beatles song of all time.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. I mean, everyone liked McCartney and Lennon, but you start talking about octopuses under the sea.
I don't know how many arms.
Octopuses?
Yeah. I don't know.
Octopi under the sea.
Eating octoporridge.
Right. But I got a chance to go to the Martin factory, and I believe you said the Taylor factory is somewhere in San Diego, something like that. I won't quote you on that because I know you look like you weren't sure of it. But the Martin factory is super cool. I think they have 2 of them. One of them's I think in Pennsylvania. So
I'm pretty sure about all facts except the ones that are lies.
Yeah, I'm gonna just talk and just pretend like I know what I'm saying. But I have been there. But what's cool about it, like you walk in there. And I don't know if you know the smell of a Martin guitar, but it smells like a Martin guitar.
Oh.
Like as soon as you walk into it, and there's all these people like hand making guitars. It's really interesting. If you get a chance, I know you're playing a Taylor, but to go down there and check that out. I'm sure the Taylor factory is pretty similar, but it's all like old guys and women who have been like making guitars for years and years and years, like hand carving stuff, making all the inlays and doing all that kind of thing. It's cool as a guitar player to like see where that stuff's made. So do you feel like you're playing better now that you have that?
The sound that comes out of this is just so lovely. It enhances everything so nicely.
Can you give us a little tease of what? Yeah, maybe tilt it down there a little.
Let's see. Isn't that beautiful?
Ooh, it's even got inlays in the little pegs for the. Speaking of pegging.
Right. That was something that I wanted to try today on the podcast.
Yeah. That's interesting because I bet you if you have to replace those, they're expensive. The little pegs on there. So have you written anything on this guitar yet, or has it just been performances so far?
It's pretty new. We had our first performance last week.
Where'd you play?
We did a show in Ithaca. It was great. We premiered the video, and all my friends came. A lot of them drove from Rochester.
Nice.
My nephew Leo was there. We brought him up on stage, and that was really fun for him. He's 6.
Did he? So he's in Ithaca, or he lives here in Rochester?
Most people are here,
We're in Rochester. So what made you do the show in Ithaca, of all places, just because that's where the video was shot?
Yeah, that's where the actors all live.
Did you do it in like a theater?
We did it at a non-alcoholic kava bar.
Ah, what is a kava bar? Like coffee?
Under the ground.
Ah.
It's I'm not an expert. My understanding is that it is a tea, and it may or may not have mild hallucinogenic properties. Very, very mild, I think. Maybe if you drank like 10 cups, you'd buzz.
You can say it's peyote, guys. He was doing straight up peyote in a tea. No, it wasn't.
I don't know.
It's interesting. I lived in Ithaca for a year,
Where'd you live?
I lived up on the hill. I forget the name of the apartment. Something apartments.
East Hill?
No.
Ithaca is geographically beautiful.
It really is.
3 hills, east, south, west hill, and then the center is the Commons, and it's at the foot of Cayuga Lake. You can really see it from any hill. It's just wow.
I think when we had Adam on the last episode, I was talking about Ithaca. So the reason I ended up moving there, I was living in Queens at the time with my now ex-wife, but we had gone up to, why did we go up there? I think we had come to see like her mom or something. On the way down, we had stopped in Ithaca for a night or something. I was like, oh, well, why don't we just like look at apartments here or whatever, see what they're like. And we stopped at some apartment. It was early morning, and the fog had was sitting in between all the hills, and this apartment had like floor to ceiling windows. It was like a low income housing, but it was like these beautiful like floor to ceiling windows that overlooked the like valley there. So it looked like Jurassic Park, because like the fog was sitting in there. And every morning I'd wake up and like drink my coffee, like staring out into the, the mountains or whatever. But I ended up moving up there because of that view that was there, and then moving out a year later because I need a little more excitement. That I think is a little. It's like a college town, so there's not a lot going on there during the summer, right? Because all the college kids tend to leave. But I lived there for a year, man. I worked at College Town Bagels.
I remember that place. I was just
there. Is that place gone now?
They moved it across the street. They tore it down and built an entirely new one right across the street. Yeah, they were an interesting business, is what I'll say. Big, confusing, colorful menu.
Yeah.
Right at the edge of Cornell, so they get a lot of business.
Yeah. That's what I was kind of saying. It's like very dependent on the college, that city, or on the colleges, I should say. So all the jobs in the area are based on the college.
Yeah, I think it's about 30,000 students and 30,000 residents.
Yeah. And then during the summer when there's no students there, it just becomes like a ghost town almost, some of it. So I couldn't stay there. I'm too much of a city boy, Brett.
I think there's magic in the air there.
Yeah.
I stand by that. I don't feel that in many cities.
I feel that about the environment there.
Right. You drive down the street and like, oh, there's something ordinary like a Home Depot. And then on the other side of the street, there's like 100-foot tall waterfall.
Yeah.
It's like majestic.
Yeah. But the problem with it was this. At the time, I had just moved upstate. So when you live in Queens, in the city, you typically don't have a car, right? Because you have the subway and you can get around without it. My dad had given me my grandfather's 1988 Honda Accord. Okay, this car was old enough. Well, one, my grandparents lived 6 months in France and then 6 months in the United States, right? So during the summer they'd come to the United States. 6 months they'd stay in France, where they lived. They had their house. So this car from 1988, I believe he bought it new. My grandfather maybe had 30,000 miles on it when I got it in 2000 something, right? So it's this old car, but very low miles. And the problem with Ithaca is it's very hilly. This car is front wheel drive. And for whoever's watching here or listening, if you live in an area where there's lots of snow and lots of hills and you only have a front wheel drive car and you have to go down a hill in a 1988 Honda Accord that only has front-wheel drive, what you do, here's the tip for anyone doing that, you need to honk your horn the entire way down the hill, because there's no way you're going to stop at the stop sign that's at the bottom of the hill. So you need to alert all the cars that are going 50, 60 miles an hour past the intersection there, that you're about to slam into them and T-bone them. And so I made it a year without that happening. But
there were a few cool open mics there I went to.
Yeah. Down in the what's that little area there in the
Commons?
Is it the Commons? Yeah.
And then there was one off the Commons that Cosmic Theo was running, and then there's one up on past Cornell at Agava. I went there every Monday night. Yeah, that really got me through. I had a lot of self-doubt around then, but I was just starting to get more hardworking, recording stuff. Like, if I don't have recorded songs, who's ever gonna hear them unless they come over to my house, So I went there every week, and from one Monday to the next, I would get in a swirl of whatever was happening in my mind, start to feel down again. But then Monday'd roll around, then I'm gonna force myself to go back there, and I'd show up, and it was almost like a cartoon when they've got birds around their head and they shake them off like, it's like, whoa, because everyone's like, oh, hey, Brett, and nothing had changed, and I had gotten in a really different place. But then I came back and like, oh, yeah, I'm a musician. These people like what I'm doing. They want me to keep doing it. They told me you have to do it if you're a musician. That's one thing I learned there. Like, oh, I have to? Okay.
You didn't feel that way on your own, or did you feel that way and not know why you were feeling that way?
I just really needed the encouragement, I think, to start to get some roots down, and doing music with others invites that. Being alone at home is different than some kind of artistic thing that's social.
What got you into music in the first place? Like, what made you pick up an instrument for the first time?
Probably just fell into my lap, and then people saw that I was liking it, and they kept getting me into different lessons and things.
So your parents,
I went to this home after school of my second mom and second dad when I was 11, 10, and they had a piano there, and so she taught me the first song I learned on the piano, like a dumbed down version of The Entertainer.
Yeah.
Da 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 da.
Can you still play it?
Oh yeah, I could play that. So I learned that, started tapping chords, and I would just sit there for hours.
I thought you were going to say Billy Joel's version. I am the entertainer. That would be a hard song to learn as the first.
He's got some really difficult things. He's really talented. If you ever see him play.
Yeah, I did, as a matter of fact, in the Grammys. He wrote a new song. There's all these documentaries now about him, because he said he was never going to write again. And then that happened.
People say shit.
They do. As a musician, what's funny about that particular song that he wrote too, it's almost like a love song or a heartbreak song about giving up on writing music. Is what that new song seems like. I forget the name of the title is of it now, though.
Sounds like a powerful story.
Yeah.
Someone who's been through such a unique life.
Yeah, and even he said, I have nothing left to offer songwriting wise, and then here we are again, right?
Yeah.
Do you ever have those moments where you feel
be a bit like, how many more years do I got?
Yeah.
I did a good job.
Yeah, but I mean, as a musician, like you said, I feel that same way. I don't think it's a choice sometimes. I think I have this compulsion, or I have this need to do it. Otherwise, I don't feel alive anymore.
It feels really good, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I don't know, a more complete sense of fulfillment.
And then at the same time, sometimes you feel like giving up completely and getting a desk job where you sit at a desk. Long time
oscillation between I'm going to work on my stuff and be engaged. Okay, and then you drift away, and 3 months later, oh man, I haven't really done any music. I don't really feel like doing it. Then you go out and do it, and you're like, why am I not doing this more? And just that times 600 times in a row.
Let's talk about this, because you moved from Rochester. Was that your first time kind of living in Nashville when you had moved down there? Or had you been down there before that?
I did a scouting trip. I decided one Monday night, I don't think I want to... There's nothing for me here. I'm going to drive to Nashville tomorrow. So the next day I drove to Nashville, and I ended up on this, I don't know if it was an active or abandoned amusement park, like a water park that was being used to have RVs camp out on it. Just arrived there, took a shower, went out to Belcourt Taps, which was a bar that sadly closed. But the people there, that's where I realized they're all the same as me, and I immediately can make friends with all of them. Had an incredible social night, stayed out until 3, and just a couple days ago I hadn't even thought of going there, but I'm like, if my social life could be like this, hanging out with these people and sharing songs at the songwriter nights, wow. So one of them said, hey, I think I'm going to work in a restaurant, and I thought, I'll try to get a job in a restaurant, and maybe that'll be a key to get here. So I went back to the RV park and snuck into their bathroom, got cleaned up, and then went to an interview at this place and got a job drove back home, and I got to tell my family, so I got a job. They're like, what? Yeah, I don't know. But sometimes things just happen.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then I went there shortly after.
So you moved down there. Did you find, this is what I find about new cities. Sometimes you are the new fish in the school, I guess you can say, right? So you show up to a city and it almost feels like a vacation at first, right? Because you're doing everything, right? You're not doing the day-to-day surviving, paying rent, doing all that kind of thing right away, right? So you arrive there and you're like, oh, this is great, all the people, and you have a good time. After a while, you start to see the,
Like the Matrix,
yeah,
how it all works.
Right. You start to see kind of like, it's not.
Start to see the people who are doing what you were doing a year ago,
Yeah.
just arriving.
Yeah, kind of, what is that called? Glassy or
Rose color.
rose-colored glasses, right? You're looking at the town through that. Do you feel like after a while you got...
I still look at it that way.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful, cool spot.
Yeah, I mean, Nashville, if as a musician, I feel like Nashville, at least in the last 10, 15 years, has become really like a mecca or like a destination point for like
I've
songwriters.
Heard that
and,
word used a lot to describe it,
Yeah.
like the cultural mecca of the South or of the whole country.
Do you feel that? So, my thought on it is this. So, my little brother, he does coding and that sort of thing, right? And there's this thing with technology and the kind of people that want to like build apps or build a company in technology, right? Like, I got to go to Silicon Valley. I got to go to this place so that then I can do my thing, right? I'm of the school of thought, or I've come to realize as I've gotten older, it's not about the place you're in. It's about what you're bringing to the place that you're in at any given point, right? So going to Nashville isn't going to suddenly make you pursue your dreams or do it all the way, or maybe it might inspire you to do that, the change that you've taken, but you can do that right where you are, right here, right now, and make. So in my little brother's example, I've said to him, you can make Rochester the next Silicon Valley, right? If you invent something, you do it here, this is the next Silicon Valley. I think Rochester, in particular, when it comes to music, there's so much competition, but that's because there's so many musicians here, and there's classically trained musicians, there's musicians that just want to be punk rock, there's a lot of singer-songwriters, and I think because of the competition that can sometimes be taken as like, it's not conducive to music community, but I don't think that's the case. I think it's human beings' natural, I don't want to say jealousy, but it's like you can look at someone that's doing better than you, or that's pursuing music or doing what they love in life, and you can become like jealous of it, or you can take it as inspiration and say, I want to be better than that person. I want to do what that person's doing. Do you feel like, because now you're back in Rochester, right? Permanently, you've moved out of Nashville at this point. And the reason I bring that up is because did you come to the realization somehow that like, oh, I can be by my family and I could still do what kind of you were inspired by Nashville's community to do, but do it here?
Yeah, I didn't really want to leave. I sort of just, like I said, took a leap of faith, and then my housing ran out. I thought, maybe I'll come back here. But I was going to go back until I decided, yeah, it's my family, my relationships are a higher priority.
Yeah.
Just feel the best feeling, the social network.
Did you drive down there? Did
Yeah.
you drive down to Nashville? How was that drive for you?
Well, I made it 10 hours into the 11-hour drive, and I started seeing smoke coming out of my hood. And what
that's
could
never
that,
a good sign.
could that be? And yeah, my car stopped, and I called AAA. And they towed my car. I have a selfie of me while the car is being towed. Like,
the dream is real.
Well, I don't know what the meaning is and what's going to happen. This could be a good thing or a bad thing, It's like an old parable or something. I don't know if this is good or bad.
Yeah.
Seems bad, but hey, maybe it's good.
Did you write a song about your car breaking down and all that?
I did actually, yeah.
You did?
That was... I wrote one song the whole time I was there. I was so tired from working on Broadway.
Oh, you worked on Broadway at one of the restaurants? What did you do? You were a server? Or?
Yeah, I gave food to tourists.
Huh. How did that feel? How did that whole...
It was hard on the legs. Challenging emotionally.
Lots of what are those called? When people get married, not bridal party. What is it called?
Right. So about 6 times every hour, a bachelorette party would drive by. There's a whole business of buses that do this, and they get to drive down the street where there's literally thousands of people there at all times at a minimum. It's like the biggest tourist hub, maybe in the country, maybe in the world. I read some article that said there were 15 million people traveled to Nashville in 2022, and that's higher than any other city. It's one of these statistics I keep quoting, and I haven't checked it, but I know for a fact, because I saw it every day, that there are thousands, sometimes tens of thousands of people on the street. You can't drive on the street at night because there's just too many people. They block it off.
It reminds me a lot of like Times Square.
Yeah.
But not really, because it's more music, but like it reminds me of that kind of thing.
It's more narrow, but it's really built up, and if any celebrity can get their bar on that stretch, I'm sure there's a lot of competition for that because it's booming.
Did you get an opportunity to like go over to Memphis too and check out like Beale Street?
I didn't know.
So there's a little bit of a competition in Tennessee, right?
Okay.
And if you go to Memphis, you'll hear more about it than in Tennessee, because Nashville's having kind of their moment in the sun,
right?
At this time, but Memphis. That was the home of the blues. It's like where the blues kind of started. Elvis, all those great blues players came out of there, and like Sun Studios is down there. But they have a similar kind of street to Broadway. It's definitely not as packed because, like I said, right now I think Nashville is just hot. Right, it's like a hot city, and that's why prices are going up. There's all these condos going up there, and huge buildings, whatever. But Beale Street looks like Broadway, where there's 3-floor, buildings with music in them, but a lot of the buildings, it's just the front facade on the second floor, so it's like a brick wall and nothing behind it. Oh.
Was that
except for music?
An F sharp minor?
It was, yes. Good ear. But nothing behind it, but it's very similar, and you've got great like blues music happening throughout there. So next time you're going down to Tennessee, take a trip over there and check out like Beale Street. It's a cool place, and I feel like Broadway is very difficult to get into playing shows there without being like a cover band or because like all the Broadway.
The main dive is cover music. Yeah. It's a machine.
Memphis
really.
Seems to be more like blues music, original stuff.
Cool.
That sort of thing. But like I would say check it out.
If you get outside of the central Nashville,
yeah, of course,
that's
Nashville.
Where. Then maybe is that where you've played when you've been there?
Yeah. Broadway is just I don't know. I've thought about, all right, let me bring the band down there and do a cover show down there, but it's just not my.
Yeah. Well, they have a few bar owners that own a lot of the properties, and they just book live music from like 11 a.m. to 2 a.m. every single day, all day, and they're singing just songs that everybody will know, so that if you're flying in from Seattle or Texas or wherever you're from, you're going to hear Sweet Child of Mine in your ears and just be like, let's buy one pair of boots and get one free at the shop.
It would make me laugh because when I'd wake up there and we'd go down to like Broadway, let's check it out in the morning. Let me like go scout venues is kind of what I would do when I would go down there. Let me talk to venue owners before all the crowds start to get there.
You're doing legwork,
it would be like 10 o'clock in the morning. People are already drunk, dancing to stuff happening. I guess maybe more like 11 o'clock or whatever.
On vacation.
But, it's crazy. I'm like, I don't know how you're listening to friggin' whatever they were listening to, those cover songs. But
it's so cool, all the music there though.
Yeah, it is.
Did you go to any of the songwriter nights?
I did, yeah. So
songwriter night is like when there's so many songwriters, so they'll bring up like 20 of them in a night. and they'll bring up 4 of them at once. They'll all get an hour, one song, one song, one song, one song. Again, everybody plays 3 songs, and then there's a new hour with new musicians. So if you go and you get to play, people get to see you, but you get to see all these other people. And I met a ton of really fascinating songwriters that way. Maybe like 50, 60% country, and then the rest was everything else, a bunch of me's, like people who are just playing their music, and it's hard to pick a genre. Everybody asks, what kind of music do you play? That's the first question.
What kind of music do you say that you play, Brett?
I've said a lot of different
struggle
things.
with that too. So
it's it's
what do you typically say when someone asks that?
I keep changing, and I tried genres, and then I tried adjectives like introspective, uplifting, positive, something that'll make someone go, ooh, what's that?
What about sounds like
right
this or that?
So my sounds like is Coldplay, and I think people have mixed feelings on that band. Coldplay. So I kind of wince a little bit when I say it, even though I like their music.
Yeah.
The public perception, and I'm trying to sound cool or something, sound like a cool guy.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm a cool guy. Yeah. I'm into this band.
Right. Well, the thing about it's such a double-edged sword, because like when you start playing music, right, what you want is the most people being able to listen to your music, right? You want to be able to share and communicate with the world is kind of what you're doing with music, right? I want to share my internal struggles and everything, and maybe relate to people and et cetera, et cetera. And you want to get your music out there. And then a band gets big, like a Coldplay or whoever it is, and there's always this backlash of like, now that you've gotten to do that and you're sharing it with a lot of people and a lot of people like it, now suddenly it's not cool anymore to like them.
The most common take being, I like their old stuff.
Right. I liked when they were on drugs and all fucked up and not famous yet, and so Coldplay. What else do you typically?
I liked Fun, the band Fun, back when they were together. What
was their big?
They
had a hit, right, of some sort.
They had an album that came out when I was in high school, I think. So I found some of their songs, and then they put out an album, and they went on Saturday Night Live, and they sang Some Nights, and We Are Young.
That's
and
right.
Carry On, and I actually saw them they came to RIT the night after they were on SNL.
Huh.
And they were just, I don't know if they were on drugs, but they were definitely high on life. They like couldn't stop cursing. They were like, "We're sorry, guys. We just keep cursing."
Well, I'd imagine.
Who could blame them?
Where did they? So they went to Nashville. You saw them in Nashville. You said, or you
at RIT, Rochester.
Or at RIT. So
the Institute here in Rochester.
Well, you have to think, right? If they were on Saturday Night Live, you said the night before.
Yeah.
That means they didn't start their performance until like 11, and there's got to be stress. Okay, you're going to be on Saturday Night Live.
And then they drove and then 5-6 hours,
right, to get up there to play a show. I've done that, and sometimes you're like, oh man, I'm so shot.
You're an athlete at that point.
Yeah, it's like really. And as a matter of fact, Allie knows now what that feels like. Sort of. I had one gig. Speaking of Nashville, where I had my day job, right, had me do this like long stint, week-long conference thing, and I had already planned this gig in Nashville, and I was going to drive the whole band down, the 12, 13 hours, whatever it was, down to Nashville, play the show at the local. Shout out to the local, by the way, in Nashville. Have you been there?
No.
They opened a second location there now too, I think. But great venue. It's like off the beaten path there. Cool, thing. They live stream all their stuff. But anyway, had to fly from where was it? Idaho or something. Boise, Idaho. Okay, my flight left at I think 12:30 at night. 12:30 at night. So I had ended up staying up, till my flight. Got in the flight, tried to sleep on the flight, couldn't sleep. Got to Nashville, drove to the hotel. Got to the hotel. It was maybe like 9 o'clock in the morning by the time I got to the hotel where I was going to be staying. It's like, okay, I can either sleep for a couple hours and hopefully I'll be all right, or I'll just drink a shit ton of espresso and coffee and stay up until then. It's like I chose the second option like an idiot, right? So anyway, I get to the place. I'm like, I'll have one whiskey. I'm good. I'll have one whiskey, relax me. I got up on stage. I swear to you, I forgot chords. I forgot lyrics to things. I was so exhausted. I stopped. I never do that. I stopped like 2 songs before it was done. I was like, I know no one else wants to listen to me continue to do this, so I'm gonna go ahead and get off stage now.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for having me or whatever, because I didn't have a chance to bring the band or anything. Have you ever had a gig like that where you've been
next day, the front page of the paper,
Right.
Patrick Jowan, out of control.
Well, at least I didn't get arrested or anything. You know, it wasn't like I wasn't belligerent.
After that.
Yeah. What was it?
We sent you to rehab. After
Yeah,
that.
that's right, rehab. Yeah, no, I didn't go to rehab, but man, I haven't had a night or a gig like that ever. So that's what the reason I'm bringing that up is because probably that's what they were feeling that next day after Saturday Night Live, because you're all hyped up on adrenaline. Like, imagine you're going to play Saturday Night Live and then you got a gig the next day in Rochester. You know, I mean,
Yeah, it doesn't really compare to that. Yeah. It's still cool.
Yeah.
They did a great job, though.
Did you watch their Saturday Night Live performance too?
Yeah. They're a great group. My sense is, like, I don't know if they'll get back together. They've been on hiatus for a while, but yeah, there were 3 of them, Nate, Andrew, and I'm forgetting the other guy's name, but he just won a Grammy for like producer for Taylor Swift. He's worked with her a lot.
Oh, really?
He's been moving up.
Interesting. So let me ask you
Really
this.
cool guys, though.
Do you have a full band, or do you typically do, and I know the answer to that, but do you typically do solo, or do you
Yeah, well, I got a band now. I did the solo thing for a while, and I like both of them. I like that the band involving other people makes it so much more fun. There are things happening that I'm not in control of, and for the audience too. They feel the kick in their chest, the bass in their chest, and it makes them want to move around. So it emphasizes what I'm doing, makes it look way better.
Yeah.
People are feeling all sorts of things, and now they're getting into the song more.
And I feel like a band can make up for, or do things that you wouldn't normally do. And it makes you then do things you wouldn't normally do too in the same. I always equate it to
Like what?
So like if the bass player goes to a certain note, or the drummer does a certain fill somewhere, it makes it more dynamic.
They've added a new element, and you get to react to it.
And especially in a live performance, if they do it unexpectedly, like you didn't do that during practice, you didn't. Typically I like to keep. All right, let's keep to what we're used to, and then once it's just automatic, then we could start fucking around with it. But I love having a full band there as opposed to just playing solo.
It's amazing. It's a great feeling. Definitely a dream.
Do you think that that going forward you'll do mostly like band stuff, or do you think you're going to still do some solo?
I'd love to just play and sing for people. It's one of my favorite things, is just to sing.
So how do you approach your songwriting? Because of course we are on the songwriter's couch, so I do have to. It's like I'm just catching up with you because I haven't seen you in a while, Brett. So we've been talking, but like, how do you approach? I got to stick to some questions and get your actual answers on it. So like, how do you approach your songwriting? Do you sit down and write like guitar part or piano part first, or is it an idea that comes to you and you're like, I have to write a song about it? What's your approach to?
I feel lucky that I'll start singing something before I even realize I'm singing it. I'll be like, I'll be just like folding laundry or something. And then I come to and I'm like, oh, I'm singing something. Then I'm like, it's kind of catchy. So I record it into my phone, and there's probably thousands of those by now. And then once in a while, there's something that's got a little more to it, and I just run with it. Go to a piano, start playing, or start writing words, and the words just fire through in the form of thoughts from wherever thoughts come from, probably filtered through the state of my mind, wherever my mind is at that particular slice of time. Like if I'm age 28 and 2 months, whatever I was going through in my life at that point in time, a song that gets written on that day gets filtered through that mind, and certain words get chosen and phrases. Like maybe I heard this word, and so that's in my short-term memory. Maybe I'm going through this thing emotionally, and that finds its way in.
Do you feel so sometimes I'll write a song and I don't realize what I've written it about until like months, sometimes even like a couple of years later.
That's the coolest part.
Like it's like I'm hearing it for the first.
Is
like,
that a common thing for you?
Very common. Because when I write, I tend to not be writing, especially lyrics. It's almost not conscious.
Do you
like it?
Do you start with nonsense syllables?
I'll start playing.
Do was a day long way cause it's ending. Then I will do it, and then it's like, what does that sound like? Oh, and then you start to form words out of it, and you're like, those are just the words that my nonsense sounded like. Yeah. But then maybe 2 months later, you're like, oh, that's kind of a cool line. That's maybe even profound.
But also sometimes during that gibberish, a word will stick there. And that'll end up being the hook, or I'll say like a phrase, and it's like, oh, that's a great like sentence there. It's a beautiful like line, and then I'll build kind of, I guess, off of that. But a lot of times, like I said, it's not a conscious thing. It's kind of just it's coming out, and I don't.
Maybe there's a blueprint, and once the thing is overlaid on the blueprint correctly, it gets a thumbs up. Oh, I like that.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of big artists, when I say big, I mean just like, well-known artists, when they talk about songwriting, the same kind of thing, like they'll sing a bunch of gibberish over it or whatever, and they'll record that, and then what does that gibberish sound like? What word does that kind of sound similar to? And then they'll shove the word in there and then start building off of it. It's interesting that it's such a similar process, because you don't get taught. I mean, I guess you can go to school and learn songwriting, but you didn't go to school for songwriting, right?
No,
but everyone kind of does it similarly.
A song that the chorus of it never made it past the nonsense syllables.
Oh, really?
So it's called "The Boy from the Lullaby." I call it "Lullaby Boy" for short. Yeah. And so in the chorus, everyone's asking me, "What are you saying in the chorus?" And I'm kind of shy to say, it's just rhythmic syllables, you know.
Well, you could say you're scat singing during it. Right?
Yeah, it just didn't make it past that phase into words. It's just that's where it ended up.
Also, okay, we do have 5 minutes left, and Brett, I want to have you on again too, if you're willing to do that at some point in the future, sooner than later, because we're running out of time here. But what was I going to say? I was just about to say something. Speaking of
Patrick's Forgetting has been brought to you by...
That's right. It's been a long week, and I haven't played a bunch of shows this week. I'm kind of brain dead. The song that you're going to play right now, right? Because you're going to do a little
let's do a
original
song
for us. How did this song come about?
This song was an ode to the kind of things that picked me up and encouraged me when I was in the self-doubt phase. And I actually brought it to one of my friends when I was about to record the This Is the Start album. And I just showed him a few songs to finalize the track list. I showed him this one. I said, "Do you like this?" I didn't know how I felt about it. He said, "Yeah, it's good." Still didn't know how I felt about it. Recorded it, and now some people say that this is their favorite song and makes them cry. And I changed my Instagram bio to music that makes you cry, because that seems to be the vibe. And that's a fun catchphrase.
I dig it.
So yeah.
So I did remember what I was thinking about.
Please share.
Right. So and this is for the people watching, not necessarily listening, because it's a very visual question. And then I have one more question for you before you play the song too. Okay. So one, in the comments, if you've watched until this point, we used to have red pop filters on these microphones, but now they're black. Do you prefer the red
black is nice
for the contrast, or the black? I kind of prefer the black.
Which one do you prefer?
Because it's
the red or the black?
Yeah, but do you know why though? Because we had Kaylin Cervini. Do you know Kaylin Cervini by any chance?
Never.
On the show a while ago, and we did like a Halloween show. and I was wearing a clown nose for that, and it's, you know, bright red clown nose. And now every time I see like the thumbnail or I see like a visual of the podcast and these are red, I always think it's that episode, and I think I have a clown nose on my face for it. So I figure I change it to this. We'll see how it ends up coming out. And comment if you hate this and you want the red back. You let us know. But I'm digging this look. Yeah, it's very sleek. And now here's my question that I saved till this point in the podcast.
Hit me.
All right. Okay. What would happen if Pinocchio... Okay. Can you cut to this? What would happen if Pinocchio said his nose was about to grow?
I would ask the other guard, if you were the other guard, would you tell me the truth? Boom.
Fuck you, the leopard.
That is a Labyrinth quote, right? Because if Pinocchio said, my nose is about to grow, and it did, then it would be true. So his nose wouldn't grow. But if he said, my nose is about to grow and it didn't grow, then he would be lying and his nose would grow. Do you understand what I'm saying? Do you understand what I'm saying, Brett?
Pretty sure Socrates thought of this first.
That's right. Do you understand the conundrum we're in here? I want everyone to think about that while they're trying to go to sleep tonight. And let's get you set up to play a song. Why don't we move your microphone, etc.? Why don't we cut to this microphone here real quick, or to this camera? Sorry. Everyone, again, before we cut to the song, I'm going to have him set up. Just remember, please subscribe to the podcast here. It really helps us out. Of course, if you become a patron and help out with the with the monthly subscription, that helps a lot. Buying merch, of course, is great. And tell Seed and Stone how much you love us. Go down there and check them out, buy their cider, etc., etc. We appreciate you. Like, subscribe, share this. Go check out Brett's and all our former guests and future guests' music. It really helps them out. That's kind of why we do this. We really want to expose new musical artists and songwriters to as many people as we can get them out to. And I always love hearing new music, and especially speaking with songwriters. That's why I do this, because I feel like you, Brett, where I really relate to other musicians, and it's an excuse for me to sit down and really like interview someone, because it's very strange to do that when you're just at a bar. Just start asking them interview questions. So what's the name of the song one more time for us, Brett?
It's called Meant to Be.
Meant to Be. All right. So Brett Lionheart, Meant to Be, everybody.
If we could all just be loved, where would the lights be? Stand up, show me. Here we are never enough. When will our hearts see that we are meant to be? You just took on a point of view, 'cause they never listened to the spark in you. This part of me, the heart is true. It's all in you. And if we could all just see up, where would the times be? Come on, tell me, why do we come here at all? Why does your heart beat? Well, you are meant to be. You just took on a point of view, 'cause they never listened to the spark in you. This part of me, but the heart is true. It's all in you. I know it's all a war. Walls can come down. I learned when I was young that no one loves me, no one loves me. But if we could just feel this love, where would our lives lead? Set off and see. 'Cause what is God supposed to do if you never listen to the spark in you? This part of me, the heart is true. You're meant to be. Thanks everybody for watching.
Brett Lionheart, everybody.
Great to talk to you and catch up in this medium. And
Same. Yeah, that was so. Again, the name of the song,
Meant to Be.
"Meant to Be." Can people find that on the the old internet?
This Is the Start album, Brett Lionheart, streaming all those places.
Excellent.
I might make a music video for it this year.
Yeah, you should.
Been making a bunch of videos. That's been so much fun. I want to keep doing that.
You should. Yeah, we're gonna be doing something a little crazy with the band here in the next couple of months. So stay tuned for that too. So we got a bunch of shows and all that kind of thing. So Brett, I really appreciate you being on the show, man. Beautiful fucking song. Beautiful guitar, by the way. And can I say something else? So next time someone asks you, okay, what do you sound like? Do you know the band The Shins?
Oh yeah, love them.
So, Simple Song by
Yeah.
The Shins? That's I would say that would give them a good
Groovy.
idea of what you sound like. So The Shins, aka Brett Lionheart.
Let's go see the Shins.
Yeah, do you want to go do that?
Let's see them.
Are they playing tonight? Can
I
we
don't
go?
know. Yeah, I
Here,
think
buy tickets, Allie.
I think
Okay.
they're playing. Yeah, they're in India.
They're playing Boulder
we'll-
Coffee
Yeah.
tonight.
Stars. You're on stars.
Stars by The Shins. Yeah.
It's not the same.
But I think your song, because you have other songs too, kind of different, similar. I think your voice is reminiscent, I guess you could say. Yeah, it's its own thing, but yeah.
Right.
Brett, love you, man.
Okay.
Have you on again.
Get in the comments.
Oh yeah, I already said all that stuff though. Go comment, like, yeah, subscribe. Oh, subscribe, like, share, the button here, the thing. Listen to the other ones, the other episodes. Buy merch. Oh, go see Sea and Stone. Thank you to Sea and Stone. Sponsor money.
Okay.
Views.
Scrap it.
Scrap the whole thing. Cut it.